Welcome and welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to do a worth to buy for Fire Emblem Engage. So with all that being said, let's get into the video. So this game is here, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. So Fire Emblem Engage is certainly a divisive game in the series for a lot of people in the community. Some people really love it, while other people think it's the worst game in Fire Emblem history. So here's how it's gonna go. I'm going to tell you about the mechanics, the story, but I'm also going to let you know my opinion as well. So enough rambling about that, let's get on to the story. Now this Fire Emblem game is set in the continent Ilios, where over 1,000 years ago, the fell dragon Somniel was sealed away by the divine dragon Lumera. During said fight, Lumera's child Alir, the protagonist, has been gravely wounded by Somniel and had to be put into a slumber. 1,000 years later, Alir wakes up with amnesia, typical trope, not knowing what happened to them. The only thing they remember is how to use the emblem ring, in which he happens to have Marth's ring. Now Marth is like the poster boy for Fire Emblem. He is the character everybody knows. I mean, there's Roy and other characters like that, but people are always familiar with Marth, so they use him a lot in Fire Emblem games. But just because Somniel was sealed away, all is not peaceful, because these creatures called the Corrupted begin to appear around Ilios, which signals the return of Somniel. Our goal as the new divine dragon is to collect all the emblem rings and to seal away the fell dragon for good. Now here's my opinion. Now the fell dragon himself has been in a lot of Fire Emblem games. This is where I think that the fell dragon is not an entity unto itself, it's just like the evil. There has to be an evil to the light, and the fell dragon is usually the evil. So that's why he keeps coming back, and it can never be sealed away forever, because if you all know Star Wars, there has to be a dark side and there has to be a light side. It's a classic tale of good versus evil, black and white, which I like, but I like my stories with a little morally gray in there, because we all know the world is not black and white. So the story fits for the game, but I wish there was more things to really think on, like they did in 3 Houses, where you had 3 different routes to take. They each had their own motives and goals, and while you didn't like them in some aspect, you liked them in another aspect. It was a really beefy title with a lot of gray area, but for Fire Emblem Engage, they took the more black and white approach. I feel like it's a good story nonetheless, even though it's not the best. But it serves its purpose, and where this game truly shines is in the next category, the gameplay. There is a lot of gameplay mechanics that I have to explain, so hold on to your seat because it's going to be a beefy one. I'm not going to get too nitty gritty, I'm just explaining the base mechanics and what you could expect. Alright, to keep it short though, the gameplay is much better than 3 Houses because of its new mechanics. So for starters, let's bring up the weapon triangle, which has always been a staple in the series. To put it simply, it is a weapon advantage system that you can take advantage of. Here's how it goes. Swords beat axe, axe beats lance, lances beat swords, yeah, and you get the picture. Plus there is also a weapon mechanic for tomes, fists, daggers, and bows. There's also a new mechanic in Fire Emblem Engage called the break mechanic, which basically lets you disarm enemies that have a weapon advantage, which is really handy. And let's not forget the big selling point in Fire Emblem Engage, and that is the engage mechanic. In the world of Ilios, there are these items called the emblem rings, which when given to a character, they could call a different character from past Fire Emblem games and use their power. Now I love how this mechanic is super handy. It goes with the whole vibe of an anniversary title, since you're having a lot of these characters come back, but I do always question how they work. I don't know if I'm the only one who just questions it, but I'm just like, how does this work? Who made these rings? Big important questions, but a lot of it is just hand waved away. There are a total of 12 emblem rings in this game, minus the DLC. The character engages with the emblem ring, they get special abilities and access to the character's weapons and how to use them. And when engaged with the character, you fuse together, get this nice flashy outfits, which I love flashy outfits, and you can seriously kick some booty. There's fan favorites like Marth, Lucina, which is my favorite Fire Emblem character, Ike, Leaf, Lynn, fan favorite characters return for this game. Honestly, I like the concept of the rings. I thought they were going to be a little bit more gimmicky, but they turn out to be really fun to use in battle. and it could really help. And also there's the strategy behind it because you want to assign each ring to a party member that greatly benefits from the ring power. Now Fire Emblem Engage has my favorite gameplay to this date because it's really solid, sticks with the basics. There's a bit of challenge to it as well, and might I add, there's different difficulties. There's easy, normal, hard, and maddening. And I've heard maddening is insanely hard. And there's also the casual and the classic. Casual, your units don't die. Classic, your units do die. So keep that in mind. But to get the best out of the gameplay, you're going to need to micromanage and train your army in Somniel. And yeah, that's my next point. So Somniel is basically the hub world where you do all your weapons, abilities, ring maintenance, like you gotta clean the rings as well. Everything you do in that hub world. There's a bunch of amenities. It's like a resort in the sky. Honestly, I would just stay there and watch the world burn in the comfort of my little resort. But we're the Divine Dragon, we can't do that. So we use that opportunity to train our units, micromanage, and just interact with them. So this is the part where I have to say the support conversations are very lackluster. Like these characters, well, some of them, there's a handful which are cool, but most of them are like one-note characters. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's all about the game and the story. And I'm like, no, that's what makes Fire Emblem special. The support conversations and knowing all your units, not only in battle, but their personalities as well. And connecting with the character makes me want to keep them alive in the battlefield. So it has a lot to do with support conversation. And I see a lot of people say, oh, it's nothing, it's just fluff or whatever. And I'm like, no, it has to be done good because I want to care for these units. Now I know I'm not going to care for every one of my units. That wasn't the case in Three Houses or previous Fire Emblem games. But I had more of a connection with them because the support conversations were more, better. It could use some work. Some of them, like I said, are good, but others just like, oh my god, I don't freaking care. There's also the cutest little thing I've ever seen, and that is Sami. He is like a pet dog thing. If you feed him and pet him, he'll give you bond fragments, and he's just so adorable. He is too pure for this game. Now there's a lot more stuff in the Somniel that I won't touch in this video because I don't want it to be long. Now the next thing I want to touch on is very controversial, and that is the character designs. I really don't like them. Like, the first time I saw the trailer for Fire Emblem Engage, I was like, what is this game? I don't even recognize it. Is this Fire Emblem Genshin Impact Edition? Now, the characters were made by this guy who makes a lot of VTubers, and I can see why, because a lot of these characters have those big eyes and a lot of stuff going on for no reason, and I don't really like the art direction. It feels so weird, especially knowing that these people are going to a battle. Having long hair like that is probably not the most efficient thing to do, and a lot of these outfits are just like cartoonishly bad, in my opinion. Now I do love flashy, out there designs for characters. I mean, I like Atelier for goodness sake, but having it in a Fire Emblem game just seems so weird. And you can see the difference in character designs because the emblem rings, you can see the different characters from past Fire Emblem games, and they look more practical, more modern, more good. Like, I miss Lucina's outfit. It's an outfit that you go to battle with. Her hair is still long, but not to her feet, and it's just more practical. I miss that kind of design. Or, Corrin. She looks nice. She's not decked out in all these pom-poms or anything. So I'm wondering, why couldn't they just stick to a Fire Emblem design? But to be clear, I'm not expecting everyone to wear battle armor or anything. It's just, they kind of went too crazy with some characters, and I just don't really like it. It's just visually weird. So this art style ain't it, fam. Ain't it? Now to be fair, some character designs I do like, but there's a lot of ones that I don't like. Now to the crux of the controversy. A lot of people are saying that this Fire Emblem is not like other Fire Emblems, and I get why. There's a lot of things that they did that makes it different, and not all in a good way, like the character designs, but I feel like it's still a Fire Emblem game, and it's actually really true to its roots when it comes to gameplay and even story. Most previous Fire Emblem games didn't have a, gigantic story that overarches generations, unless you're Genealogy of the Holy War, which Nintendo, can you remake that, please? But needless to say, even in the story department, this game does track for Fire Emblem. But why I think a lot of people are mad is because it came after Three Houses, which was this epic 3-route campaign. It had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of political intrigue, a lot of gray area. And then you go to this one and you're just like, bruh, what is this? In which case I understand. But I do think it's still a Fire Emblem game, and I really enjoy it. And if you're willing to look past the character designs and different story plot points that don't make sense, I feel like you could really enjoy it and have fun with it. Also, this is a great game for beginners. I've heard a lot of people not like Three Houses or not even try it because there's a lot going on. But with Fire Emblem Engage, it's easier to understand and to get the game and enjoy it. In conclusion, is Fire Emblem Engage worth the buy? I think it's definitely worth the buy. While it does have its faults, and while it's far from my favorite Fire Emblem game, it's still really good. Gameplay's really fun, and even if the story is not crazy, it's still enjoyable, and I'm enjoying it so far. So, it's worth the buy. So if you like this video, hit that like button, I would appreciate it, and if you like my channel and would love to see more everything RPG related and Nintendo, then hit that subscribe button. Tell me what you guys think about Fire Emblem. Did you pick it up? Did you not? Are you on the fence? In the comments down below, I would love to hear it. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and as always, play a good game. Peace.